is the killer guns? That was the question. Even my good friend from Bongedde, I thought, was going to ask me that question. I deliberately did not even answer that. And the reason was, my team was still out in the field. And you know, we are dealing with very hard criminals. And when you're dealing with hard criminals or terrorists, it takes time for them to break down, to give you information. These characters are trained not to easily give information. It is part of their training. So it takes always time. However, before Master, the main shooter, was killed, he had informed our team. You remember I told you yesterday that the gun was with one called Mukwas. I showed you the names of Mukwas yesterday. I never even showed you the photographs of Mukwas yesterday. But upon arrest of Mukwas, Mukwas also claimed that somebody by names called Amin. Amin is a nickname, but his real name is Kawawa Mustafa Ramadan, had picked the guns away from him. I remember I showed you Amin. Amin stays in Maganjo B, LC1 area. Upon arrest of Amin, Mustafa Ramadan, he also claimed and told us that he had handed over the gun to one called Serwada Juma, a Sapati seller in Namwongo. But the ordeal is a long story. If I tell you how we move, I have told you that we operate 24/7. He first took us to Kagoma as if we were going to Luero yesterday at night. And then we came back to Nansana. Then at around 1:47 at midnight is when Mukwas decided, I would say it is a fairer criminal, because he decided to push Amin to say, Amin, let's give these people the guns. Then Amin opened up and said, the guns are with one called Serwada Juma, a Sapati seller in Namwongo. Our team had to move to Namwongo. When we arrested Serwada Juma, upon arrest of Serwada Juma also told us in the night that the gun is not with him, but it's with somebody within the vicinity of Namwongo called Juma Said. Our team continued to Juma Said's house next to the railway line. This man is Serwada Juma. I will give my friend here, no problem. You take. Now, Serwada Juma told us that no, the guns are with You want this or this? With Juma Said. Then we went into the house of Juma Said, a 2-bedroom house. When we started searching the place, we found in one of the rooms, there was a place dug. He told us the guns are there. This was in Kanyagoga zone, Bukasha Parish in Namongo. We of course found Juma Said in his house with his family, and upon interrogation, he pointed to a poultry house where the 2 SMGs and 1 pistol were properly wrapped and concealed underground. This is Juma Said in his house, picking the guns. What are our findings about Juma Said? Our team continued to protect the scene. We call it now a scene of crime. And investigations continued so that daybreak continues as we continue searching the area. As I was coming to brief you just now, we found very interesting information. You remember the rider who was riding Master in a yellow jacket, the orange jacket, with a Gapco jacket, is Juma Said, with the helmet. We found the jacket and the helmet in the ceiling. And that then concludes the mystery I was saying, who was the rider of Master? So Juma was the rider of Master. I know other questions may always arise and said, definitely, it is human. Where are those guns? I am now going to display those guns so that the doubting Thomases go, because if they can even doubt during Jesus' time, they can even doubt during our time. So bring these guns and show these ladies and gentlemen. So these are the same guns which were used, because we have just got it back from the laboratory now. These same guns were the ones which were used in the Kigundu killing and the Kawesi killing. Open. We didn't find them in such a good, but these are for exhibit, because we don't want somebody to touch it. These are for how we handle some of these things. Why don't you put on your gloves and then you pull it out? Mfungue hiyo silaha, mtoe hiyo silaha nje. Mubiru, wear your gloves and then pull for me these guns and put it somewhere.
Close to there.
But it's not my gun. Why are you giving it? I think you are interested in the guns. Mubiru vaa hizo gloves wewe. Why he is not holding this gun so that his DNA does not remain on the guns when we take it to the lab? I think you understand that. He will become a suspect. Yeah. Yeah. So this is one of the guns which was used in the attempted. Yeah, so you can then see that these were the guns, even in my footage, these were the guns that Master and Kanebe were holding. Yeah. Now the same cartridges from the lab indicates that it was the same cartridges that was got at Kawesi's and Kegundu. They have similar characteristics. That's how you analyze some of these things. All guns have different characteristics. They are not the same. Kawawa Mustafa Ramadan, alias Amin, at about 30 minutes past 4 a.m. this morning, attempted to flee away from the scene. When our boys were still concentrating on trying to collect exhibits from within the surroundings. As he was attempting to run away from our team, he was put out of action. So this answers the question that had been lingering in your minds and also in my mind too, that where are the killer guns? At last we have got the killer guns. I thank you very much. No, I will first start with him.
What is the result that will get trust with? This will not shoot you. For the family, it is happening twice. Yesterday, brothers, you shot one day. Then us, you shot another one. Yet we are principal suspects. We wonder why, because we don't have gun.
If you are fleeing away from the enforcement authorities, and in such situations, these are terrorists. We shall have no alternative than to put you out of action.
My name is
Up to now, our people are still in the vicinity of the area, searching the area, and then I will come out with other details when I get them from the field. We have 4 suspects in our cells and 2 are dead.
Yesterday, I'm Joseph Kato. I work with Uganda. Yesterday, you told us Master was killed as confronted, trying to fight with the forces. Today, you say before I was killed, I reviewed some information which has been put on to reach today's development. So we wonder how did he confront you to reveal the information you are going to and later get executed? We thought he immediately informed the forces as he was being appointed to be arrested. So which is there?
What is important to note is when we are going for some of these things, it's not a picnic. We are not dealing with normal people. We're not dealing with the media people. We are dealing with sophisticated people who are well trained. And when not handled, they can even harm our forces. In other situations, which we haven't yet seen here, when you're going to handle these people, you need also to be very, very careful. Others even blow themselves off. I have been in those situations myself, so there is nothing new you're going to tell me. When I killed Fazul in Somalia, I hope you knew about this. UPDF killed Fazul. Fazul was the main terrorist leader of East Africa who blew up the American embassy in Nairobi and Dar es Salaam. They all had wrapped themselves with bombs. Immediately we shot Fazul, the rest triggered the explosives. So we are always very, very sensitive when we are dealing with this type of operations. Okay. Simon, yes.
Yes. In your narrative, you talk about, in your narrative, you say you from the laboratory.
Yeah.
Those guns were found with Juma Saeed.
Yeah.
Who owns those guns? Or what is the trust of those guns?
These guns, you see, with terrorism, no particular person owns the gun. They just use it for particular operations. But the leader of these guns was Master. And that's why Master is so keen to these guys. Because of other information we don't want to give you tomorrow, when we are taking them to the courts of law, I would arrange all these other suspects to talk to you, but I'm not going to do that. We have them in our custody, and they would have told you how Master manages the cell, and Sheikh Obaida manages the cell. So, as I mentioned yesterday, we are still looking for Sheikh Obaida, whom we think is the main cell leader within the region now, or in Uganda. And then we are looking for somebody by names of Kanabe. But we still think Kanabe could be even a false name. What does Kanabe mean in Luganda? Yeah, so I don't think that could be Israel names. Yeah, so I am sure that that's a false name that he uses, but we shall, because when you look at this other guy, Mudinka, you may think he's a Dinka, but he's not. This is Sulmani. So some of these are false names, just to disguise, to help them in their operations. So, no, I cannot do now.
Thank you.
I would like to know from the government the success that was not done during the chief and are there any maybe police officers who have been implicated for?
The first question, it looks very good for the first time NTV. But what you would have said is, during the murder of Joan, during the murder of Kawesi and Kigundu, government had not yet installed the systems, the cameras that we have today. These cameras itself are a force multiplier in itself. When we integrate this surveillance with the cameras, with other systems that we have, that the government has procured, getting criminals becomes much more easier. However, you need to know that criminality gets sophisticated day in and day out. That's why we need always to be ahead of them. So when these systems are fully integrated, the technical intelligence, the surveillance systems, fully integrated, and the human intelligence, then we can get these people. However, even in most developed countries, they can still get away with it. You see, at times you operate as if yours is the worst. No, yours is the best. In other sophisticated countries with better technologies, these criminals always beat some of these technologies. Okay, I think I need to, maybe I just give that lady for purposes of gender balance. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Do these findings now lead us to the findings in the previous high-profile murders? Two, how big is the ADF problem in Uganda?
Excellent. This finding tells us that this is an ADF cell connected to their main bases in eastern DRC. It is still a problem. The cells are still out there. Our team are working 24/7 to ensure that we break this cell. And we are going to break these cells with evidence, not lip service. We shall act, and we shall act very firmly to ensure that we get these criminals to book. For the safety of our people and the safety of the property of the people of Uganda. This is not going to be the end of our operations. It will instead scale up our operations to get those one who we still do not yet know. With your prayers, we think we shall also get those ones who are still outside there in the dark. I thank you very much.